Hello and welcome to day 21 of the Just Ship It challenge. And yeah, it's getting close to the end actually. So today I was a little bit shocked that it's day 21. Somehow it's like waiting for Christmas, where first the days really slowly progress and you think, wow, there's so much time until Christmas. And now it's really soon. And so today I started a little bit reflecting on what it means to reach the end of the month, what I would like to have at that point, and well, how probably it is that I will reach the goal that I set. And there are a couple of other things that I was thinking today about. And I was actually also meeting with another founder. So this week has been really crazy with a lot of interaction. I also have another meeting scheduled tomorrow, actually, too. And so, yeah, there's a lot of social interaction going on. Unfortunately, not in real world, but at least through the internet and, well, safe and socially distant. But yeah, I somehow feel good to meet other founders and hear about their businesses and how they're doing. And yeah, so today I was actually talking with somebody that is building a website builder. That's maybe the easiest to describe it. Probably he would describe it more elegantly than I did, but it's basically that. So it's in direct competition with things like Wix or WordPress or whatnot. And yeah, he was talking about, I was asking him, well, is it profitable, right? Is your business profitable? And he said, like, well, what means profitable? And that's an interesting take, because I think most people say, well, if the business doesn't cost you more than you're spending on it, right, it's profitable. But he was more reflecting on it. I said, well, what does this mean? You can't really say. And he said, well, for me it is, but for my co-founder it's actually not. And it has to do with the way that they are living. So he's very frugal and he doesn't spend a lot of money, so he doesn't need a lot of money, and he quickly sees it as profitable. But for his co-founder, it looks a little bit different, because he thinks about the opportunity cost. And so he could be doing something else with his time and get more money than he's doing right now. So in his perspective, he's losing money. And yeah, I'm actually thinking, I'm also from time to time thinking about the opportunity cost, because it's important to think about that. I think when I was younger, this was something that never came to my mind. Didn't matter, the endeavor. I was just like, if I want to do it, I'm doing it. I didn't really think about, how much will that cost, or what's the return of investment. It's just not who I am. It's not really part of my thinking. But getting more mature, it's becoming more and more that I also think about that. I remember that I was very shocked with one person. So I was studying in the Netherlands, actually, doing my PhD there. And one of my friends actually said, he's not, or not one of my friends, one of the friends of my friends in this cycle, right? This person said he's not meeting with expats, right? So with people that are living abroad. And I was like, okay, well, that person obviously told me to my face he doesn't really want to interact with me, and is not really interested. And I asked him why, and that person said, well, it has to do with that you're moving anyway, right? So I'm not spending my time with people that are not sticking around, because it's a lost cause. It was very brutal. I was like, oh, shocking. I think I've never thought about meeting others in that way, like in a very, what do I get out of it? Like, is that going to be a long-term relationship, friendship, or whatnot? Anyway, well, this is on a very different level, but also with projects that I pursued, or I mean, probably people that are doing a PhD are not very oriented on profit, I guess. Which in hindsight, I don't know, it was really a good idea to do it. Like, yeah, when I did it, I knew that probably could make more money if you're not doing a PhD, right? If you're not studying and learning, but if you're going and trying to make career at a company, this is probably more profitable. So it's actually a new way for me to think about things. And maybe I'm still not, it's still not on top of my mind, but I try to be more, I try to incorporate it a little bit in my thinking. And this means, for example, what strategies to use to grow your business, for example, or how to reach out to people, right? And so a lot of, if you're starting out, a lot of things have to do with how do you actually acquire customers, for example, or how do you get people that are interested. And it can be, I mean, it can be a product, but it can be your blog. Hi, Rich. Nice that you're here. Nice that you're joining me. And I think there's also opportunity cost, right? So, for example, I'm thinking more on opportunity cost. Sometimes it crosses my mind. I'm still not, probably it's not made, I don't have mental models around that so much. I don't know if it has to do with how I'm raised or what I experienced, but sometimes I'm thinking about it because you only have like so much time, right? So opportunity cost could also be like, well, I have 24 hours in a day and I have to do certain things like sleeping, eating. I have a family as well. So a few hours already allocated and then you have some hours left. And so where do you spend the time in that hours, right? What brings you the most? And so what brings you the most really depends on your goal. And I think it's really hard. I mean, at least for me, it's really hard. Because, yeah, as I said, because it's not really the way that I'm normally thinking. So I have, for example, a YouTube channel, and I think probably a year ago, I thought like, well, I would like to have also YouTube videos, and because I like the medium, the way of communicating quite a bit, right? So not that you're reading something, but that you really have like a video there, and I think it will become bigger and bigger over time, even though it's already big, right? But I think it will become even bigger. And so I thought, well, I would like to have that as well, but there was not really a strategy behind why I would like to have a YouTube channel. And so I was actually very slow on getting things up on my YouTube, and I'm still very slow because I don't have like any goal around it, like, oh, I don't want to be or become a YouTuber, right? So that would be, for example, a goal, right? If you want to become a YouTuber, probably you should invest all your time in making YouTube videos and uploading them. For me, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more like, oh, I like it and I like to play around with it and I would like to see it as well. And so I uploaded a few videos. I made a few videos. It takes me a long time to do a single video. And one of the other things is I wanted to have my podcast on there actually regularly. I haven't managed to do that, just time-wise. I haven't managed to do that, to get my videos out there. I don't have a process around it that it's easy for me to make the videos in a quality that I like them. And so there's this YouTube thing floating around, right? And it's not really connected to my business. And so I definitely have to think about it as an opportunity cost, right? So if I'm spending time doing YouTube, I'm not spending time on parts of my business, right? And the same for my blog. Well, I have a blog, and so I'm writing, and if I have time, I'm writing, and there is definitely more connection to my business. I think it's an important part of my business because how should people know about me, or how should people know about my coaching experience or my tactics or the strategies that I teach? Well, I let them know via my blog. So writing on my blog, I see a very strong connection to my business, even though still you could argue, well, maybe it would be better. And actually I had a call. I don't know if I told you about this call yesterday. I told you about the call, but I don't know if I told you what we were talking about. But this person was saying, never write any blog post anymore. This is really a waste of your time. And I was like, okay. And so in his world, he thinks that this is a waste of time, right? Me writing blog posts and it's not getting clients. So in his perspective, I should do something else. And here again, I'm thinking opportunity cost, right? Writing blog posts is something that I like, and I think I would do it anyway, right? This is how it started, actually. I did the blog post first and the business came later. Yeah, maybe I should do something else with my time, right? So if you're I don't know, serious entrepreneur, something like that. I don't know how serious do you have to be as an entrepreneur also. But if you're in serious entrepreneur in this really focused mindset, I want to make this business now succeed, then you probably have to think about opportunity cost much more, and also where do I spend my time to really make it last, right? And I really try to do it much more than I did before. But I'm still sort of a person that, don't know, is a little bit more. I don't see it as black and white, right? So I'm thinking that maybe if I have maybe I'm thinking, okay, let me rephrase that. I really have to think about this. One thing that I really dread is sales, for example. And I think I told you about this. And I know I have to get better. And this is definitely something on my I have to get a more serious entrepreneur steppy thing, right? So I have to learn about sales. And I think it's not only learn about sales, have to, get more brave to do it, to contact people and say, do you want this or that, right? And have something to offer and sell it. And it's not very close to my nature to do that. And so it's easier, to do something that you like. I like to write, right? I could write thousands of books. I think I would never say, oh, I'm not writing this book, right? So it's really hard for me to say, if you say, oh, do you want to write a book about a topic that I'm interested in? I would say, yes, that sounds amazing, right? But how much money can you make with a book? Some people make a lot of money, but like in general, on average, I think people are not really getting rich with a book, and not even getting rich but is it a sustainable business, right? Writing a book, it's a lot of time. And you don't know what will be really the return of it. So so I was thinking a little bit about this, what he said, right? So that they're running a profitable business, so they're having customers, and for one person it's enough, right? So for him, in his mind, it's profitable, and for the other person it's not, because he's comparing it with something. If I would work, I don't know, at Uber, maybe Uber is a very bad example now with the pandemic, but at Google, Facebook, or another company, I would make more money. So because of that, it's not profitable, and that's probably to do a lot with the goals that you are setting, right? And I definitely have that as well. I'm thinking a lot about, how should I spend my time. I'm mostly spending my time with things that I really enjoy as well, writing blog posts. I spend my time doing YouTube videos, even though there is no real goal behind them. But I definitely work on being more strategic about that. That's it, I think. Not being so good about the strategic part yet, but definitely thinking about it. There was another thing that I quickly wanted to talk about with you, and that was the next couple of features that I will do for my code review tool, right? So I'm working on this code review tool, and actually I showed you a little bit yesterday. So I had a couple of requests from my early adopter that I started implementing today, and they're almost ready. There are a few, some of the graphs they're nice, but there are a few things like how do you say it in English? Legend is too close to the bar. So it's minor things that I have to improve. But in general, I think the really early version is sort of done. But I would like to enhance it a little bit more. I would like to have a little bit a better view also of communication in code reviews, right? So somehow understand communication and the patterns behind communication, because we are somehow having an analytics tool, right? So we have to understand the patterns of that. I want to do that a little bit. And so I thought maybe we are doing something that we did last time. We are looking together at some of the PRs and then extract some patterns. I don't know if you liked that last time. I actually liked it. And it would be really useful for me. So somehow we would work on it as well. Unfortunately, again, I have 1,000 tabs open. I think you know me by now. So I have to organize my my computer a little bit, but then I'm gonna share my screen, and we can look at some of the PRs, and I have to think about which project we actually look at. Like last time I think we looked at let me move that over here, CouchDB, right? So maybe we are just sticking with that one. Here I have Postman open, and I now know how to zoom in so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. I don't know if that's already a good zoom. I think it is. Yeah, and then I'm gonna run my tool. Let me get that over here. So I'm gonna run my tool because the report, let me see if which project I ran it on last time, because I have some confidential data here that I can't show. No, yeah, the good thing is it ran on CouchDB, so it's easy for me to show. So maybe I show you this. The colors are not nice, right? So this is the new graph that I said, and here the legend that I said, it's not really nice, right? It's in the wrong position. But these are rubber stamps, actually. These are rubber stamps. You know what rubber stamps are? Rubber stamps are PRs that are just like you're rubber stamping, right? So something comes in and you're like, oh yes, looks good to me. And you just pass it off, right? And so these are rubber stamps, and I somehow implemented some severity here. So you see here 29% of very reddish severity for rubber stamps. Then we have like a really small piece of not that severe rubber stamps, and yeah, yellow and then green. I'm actually thinking about removing the green, but my early adopter right now likes them, so I keep it there, and he looks at some of the things. Anyway, here is the nice list of, these are also some of the rubber stamps. Yeah, so that's it, but maybe we are not looking at those. We can look at some of those, but I was thinking more looking at some of the conversation where we see things that are where people are having long conversations, right? And yeah, because I extracted quite some patterns for those rubber stamps, and actually I think there are a few more things that I want to implement, but it's sort of it's getting stable, that it's actually a good prediction of what is the rubber stamp, and it seems to be very helpful also for my early adopter. So that's a good thing, but I want to understand a little bit more other kind of communications that we are actually having in code reviews, right? And so let me, I'm just quickly going in here because it's the easiest way for me to go to the Apache CouchDB thing, right? And so let's look at some of the pull requests here. And so now, I mean, this is, for example, one, I think we looked at that last time, right? And I think this is definitely an outlier, right? With 44 discussions that are happening here. This, I think, is maybe a little bit more realistic, like 7 discussions here. Oh, here we have 16, right? So I want to look at those and see actually how are people discussing, what are they doing, how are they replying, and then also how does it look behind. So we will also look at the same PRs. We will look at the same PRs. Let me move that a little bit over here. Actually, it should be behind. Like this. Sorry, I adjust your window a little bit so that you can see better, I hope. Anyway, so this was the really large one, right? I think we looked at that one. I actually forgot what we concluded, but we concluded, I think, that it was, what did we conclude? I don't forgot. This is the first pure dog access PR with training more. Okay. Well, it's definitely something large, right? Like 42 files have been changed. There are not a lot of changes, but, well, enough, right? There is something completely new. There's a diff. It's even, this means it's large, right? It's actually not that large, but there are some comments here. Yeah, so let's look at some of the comments, right? So here we have like a real a real conversation. Wuhali says, I'm confused. Why does a DB that has access enabled always get the conflict option added to a doc read? I know only admins can see conflict, so is this to say if this document is conflicted, deny all per user access until an admin can resolve the conflict? So she's asking a question, right? She's asking a question and indicates it with question marks, which is very simple signal. Probably not super important signal, but a signal somehow. So somehow, I mean, here we have like a question, right? He also has a question. So he says, he has a statement here, and then he has a question as well. And then he adds some context, right? So this isn't really a question that we have here. What's happening here? I mean, this is not really a question, right? It's a suggestion phrased as a question. So this is why I said, well, a question mark is a poor signal in code reviews for a question, because maybe admin must resolve conflict document. Most of the time people are it's also a good advice, right, to phrase suggestions and feedback actually as questions. So it's not you're demanding something from somebody. So I just want to get a little bit an idea. So there are single comments, then there are a few threads, right? Not too many. Let's see. And the interesting thing here is these are all, if I recall correctly, these are all review comments, right? So let's go to this PR, and I'm using Postman for that. So this is a nice tool that you can use to actually look at some of the API, right? So to request the API, and you don't have to do something programmatically, right? It just gives you in a nice visual way also the PR. And so and then we say like comments. Let's see how many we have here. I think only 4 or something. Oh no, these are the ones. Okay. So yeah, because they are the pull request comments, right? And so we are gonna look for that comment that she just had here. Thank you for drying this out. I think we looked at this last time. I don't know if I definitely did. I don't know if I did it on the stream, but I think I did it on the stream. Yeah, so this is correct. So these are all these PR comments, right? There's the position that we can see here. Okay, so let's have a little bit a look at the other ones, right? So this is, even though it's a very long thing, it's mostly one person saying, right? This is a question. Is this comment still accurate? Well, I don't know if, is it a question? Yes, it's a question, but it's not like the person doesn't know anything. It's just a question for the author. As above. This is a large pull request. Okay, anyway, I'm not gonna look further. Let's have a look at the conversation page, right? What's happening here? This is the review. Okay. Left a comment. Oh yeah, these are the same conversations that we have here, right? So they are like in nice little threads here. Okay. Requested the change. Ah, yeah. Okay, this is requested the change, and we see here there's a lot of. This is like a real conversation, a real review, right? So somehow we know just from looking at it that the person probably took some time looking at those 42 files, is giving some feedback, and then there are the detailed reviews question or review question that he added, right? And there are like 21 more. Not a lot of iterations like or threads happening. So a person is saying something, but that's it, right? They're not looking at something else. And then he commented, right? So okay, let's have a look at something more on a simpler thing. So this is like I think with the 7 comments or something, right? Oh, there's a lot conversation happening here. Some initial review. Okay. Okay, and then let's have a look here. Supersedes. It's interesting as well, right? I mean, I have to write a little bit down, a few things down that I notice. First of all, we have like a link, right, to another PR, which is interesting. Oh, sorry, I pumped into the mic. So let's take a few notes that we have seen, right? Some of the things we probably knew, but it's interesting to see it in data, and this is just one example, right? But so the question, right? Questions that are suggestions. So you cannot. There's no like you cannot detect, for example, conflict or confusion just by having questions there, because questions probably the person knows exactly, but they're phrasing it as a question. So it's like it's a stylistic question, right? And not like I don't know a question. And then a link to PR in description I think is interesting as well, because they can somehow be related. Oh, this one, see? This is probably one of the first longer communications that we are seeing. Okay, well. I'm actually not seeing so many interesting things here, to be honest. So here we have like nine conversations. Let's have a look here. Maybe we should, what we should do? We should actually contrast that really with the different repo. Because what I have seen, so if we are thinking about patterns and we want to extract patterns from what we see, right? What I see here is that the way code reviews are done here in this CouchDB repo is very similar, right? So if you look at it, every code review has actually some description. If you look at it, right, it's not, I mean, I've seen a lot of other things, and it's not always the case that people are really writing down what they're doing. Like this person is really writing a lot. I mean, this was a huge change, but even here, you're having this template, so they're actually using templates, and this is very minimalistic, but still the checklist is there, right? Here we had something. This person writes a lot. This person writes something, right? So this was actually an outlier and was also declined, to be honest. Here we have also like the overview and some description, right? So what we can see here is that somehow, and then what we also see is it's the same people, right? So there are the same group of people reviewing and giving comments and discussing just by looking at the last few PRs. So let's maybe go somewhere else. And one of the oh no, this is wrong. No, this is okay. One of the repos I'm looking at as well is TensorFlow, and I look at it because it's very different than CouchDB, right? In the way that they're doing it, they are using much more, for example, those labels. And what they also have is they have a lot of pod comments there as well. So let's have a look here. I'm also picking a few with a few comments to see, you know, how people are communicating with each other, how are they talking with each other. Like 4 is not that much, but maybe let's have a look at those as well. I mean, they are all anyway. Yeah. Support leaky relugrat. Very short, right? No template. This person requested a change. They have like a PR queue automation. Move this from assigned reviewer to reviewer requested change. Okay. What happened here actually? He did then something, right? Awaiting response. Okay, they added a label. As I said, they are working a lot with labels, right? So it's quite different from the flow that we have seen before, right? So they're using labels and they are using some automation here, right, around their workflow, right? Reviewer requested change to approved by reviewer, right? So things are happening here. Ready to pull label, right? So the TensorFlow butler, yeah, that's quite a bit here. Okay, let's look at next one. Also quite a minimalistic description. Let's have a look if this is the same person actually. No, it's not. Yeah. Added a size, so they are having like size labels, right? So they are somehow thinking about the size of the code change, which is a very good indicator actually for the risk of the code change and also how difficult the review will be, right? Looked good to me. How fast was that? Approved these changes 2-3. Yeah. It took them 2 days to review it. Looks good to me. And then that person still has something, right? But that person reviewed then afterwards. Okay. So most of the communications actually here are very minimalistic, right? So there are not a lot of changes really in the code itself. So here we have like an outlier, right? This is really a big, a large, detailed code review description that we are seeing here. This PR also includes a small fix for AWS building target. So somehow this is not one coherent PR, but it's several things, right? So the size M label, how many things do we have? Like nine files changed. So there's a lot of conversation happening. And here is a lot of conversation happening. I don't think this is safe. Okay. Wow. Okay. Oh, now we are back here. Let's have a look at something else here. Size M. So I'm now just looking at the labels that they're having, right? A PR type label. Let's have a look. They have like APR review, awaiting review, awaiting testing, then merge. CLA no, CLA yes, comp, EPs, cloud, component probably. Issues related to core parts, PR related to cloud platform, autograph related issues. Okay, there are all the components that we have, right? Contribute, anything that comes under contribute. I don't see what this says here. Good first issue, invalid Java. Prime for PR prioritization. PR type bug fix, ready to pull, regression issue release, size L, MS XL, XS. Huh. Okay. Label. Filter by label. Let's have a look at like XL. Large changes. Ten files changed, okay. I mean, this is really interesting, right? So this is interesting because we can actually use for some of the analysis, and this is just probably for validation for myself and for the tool. I can actually use some of those labels to help me understand if the tool is analyzing and classifying the thing correctly as well, right? And compare it what other people are thinking. Anyway, this was interesting. Let's look at something else. Let me think about the list of things that I had. I actually had like this one is one that I also analyzed. Facebook React pull requests. This one is one of the most important ones, right? If it's signed or not, the contribution agreement, right? React core team. Let's look at what kind of label do they have. Components, difficult, medium, starter, good first issue, and so on. So they have a lot of labels, but just from looking, I don't see that they are using it very much, right? React core team, maybe that's the level that they are using. Component developer tools, but everything else is just with the CLA signed. So they're not using those labels like TensorFlow did. So let's have a look. But look at the conversation. There's a lot of conversation happening. 19, 16. Let's look at some that are not that big, right? 4, 10, something like that. Let's look at the conversation, at the summary. There were test plan. Added new test for new format to the ESLint tests. It's the pod here. They have a code sandbox box, which is really nice. This pull request is automatically built and testable in Code Sandbox. And now I'm gonna quickly make a note about Code Sandbox in the book that I'm writing. So let's go over to our code review book in the tools section. Oh, I'm not on the right branch here. This is an old version of it. Right, so. Sorry, got distracted a little bit, but oh, weekly, what's called notes. So, okay. I remember how it's called. Tool section. Oh. Okay. This doesn't refresh. Let's open it again. Should be actually much more. Yeah, there we go. In the let's put it here. Because I thought about this, about Code Sandbox, but I forgot to mention it in the, you know how that is. When you're not doing it right now, I will forget about it the next time as well. So section Code Sandbox, right? Part for GitHub. So I've done this, and I don't have it on my mind anymore, which is good. Well, yeah, this is what I realized. Most of the things are really about the pod, right? Most of the discussions are really the pod that are doing something here as well. Mind updating. Let's get this in rebase. Okay. Okay, requested the review. So people are really requesting here reviews. For example, you don't see that really in CouchDB, right? People are not requesting reviewers or not assigning people. The size bot. Okay. Okay. One reviewer requesting change and one approved review. Okay. This is probably the last one that I'm looking at because I'm getting a little bit tired. Yeah, today I think it's getting more complex, right? To improve really the tooling and what it can do. Sorry, this is the blog post that we just wrote together last time. Let me pull up my streamy thingy here as well. Now it's getting harder, right? To extract signals because the obvious signals are already done. And so I will probably spend much more time doing what I just did now, and making notes, and understanding much better what the different workflows look like, and how we can extract different signals from it, and what's actually meaningful here. Yeah, I have a couple of things that I would like to try out, and but I haven't really seen a lot that's confirming some of my theories that I have. But maybe, we just have a very small sample size. So probably as a next step, I will implement some of the things that I think will surface some interesting PRs. And then next time we can have a look if those interesting PRs are actually, actually coming to the top, or are accessible because of that. And so this is probably it for today. Thank you so much for joining me again on this day 21. It's a long journey. I actually wanted to reflect with you at the beginning on how far we have come, and how we deviated again. Let's do that tomorrow. Let's look at our Trello board, and let's think also very, very hard about what we want to achieve. Like, what are some of the goals that we set, and what are some of the goals that we will actually reach, and what we have to do to get there. I'm still haven't done the landing page. I still haven't done the mailing list. So I think we really have to get that going now. I was thinking also about, should I launch that thing already on Product Hunt or something, or I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I somehow feel it's too early. So I don't know if I'm gonna do it. And but maybe we can reflect on that tomorrow. Let's take tomorrow's stream to really think about that, what we want to get out of this last couple of days, to make this 30 days ship it challenge to something that we feel like, well, we accomplished actually what we set out to do. And it's not just random 30 days working on something, right? So it has to have a start and an end. And but let's do that tomorrow. And so thank you so much for joining me today, and see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. CST time. And soon it's not summertime anymore. So bye bye.